Hi, everyone, and welcome to Book Club with Bay. I'm Bay, and this is Bay. Say hi, Bay.
Hi, Bay.
And today we're going to be talking about Bite Club by Rachel Kane. It's a book in the Morgan Le Vampire series, the one that comes after Ghost Town. So in any case, last once we met, Phil Collins, Frank Collins, not Phil, had just taken Ada's place as the computer. I mean, in fairness to me, Phil Collins does sound like a computer half the time.
How absolutely dare you?
I didn't say he can't sing. I say he sounds like a computer, okay?
How absolutely dare you?
All the auto-tune is not my fault. I didn't do it. Take it up with someone else. It's none of my business.
I'm just trying to see if this I feel like it is. Give me a second. I just need to double check that this is Gorilla. It is. Okay, I don't know if this was a, because you know how some commercials are like, per country and others are like global campaigns. Did you guys get the drum playing gorilla for Cadbury to Phil Collins in the Air Tonight?
What?
Did you guys have the ad of the gorilla playing drums to In the Air Tonight?
Like when the song first came out?
No, like it looks like it might have been around 2007.
You know what? I don't know. I don't think so. I have no idea though. So I was gonna be like, I wasn't alive when this song came out, and I don't think you were either. So I don't know. I'm like, I'm pretty sure we were both still dead.
Yeah, no, okay, so I know so it was in the UK. The advertisement appeared in Canada, Australia, South Africa, and New Zealand, among other countries. So if the US isn't mentioned, I don't think you guys got it, but it's a gorilla playing drums to advertise chocolate, and it makes zero sense. I don't think it's a real gorilla.
Is that because of like Tarzan? I wonder. Because of like the gorillas in Tarzan and like Phil Collins in Tarzan and like.
Okay,
probably not.
Let's have a look.
I'm probably 40 trusting an ad. Okay,
so gorilla.
I love that like we are 3 minutes in. We are off topic. I just want to point that out.
Okay, Gorilla formed a major part of the pitch by blah, blah, blah. Their proposal is to step away from traditional advertisements to a middle-aged, middle-class demographic. Instead, Fallon proposed the production of entertainment pieces aimed at a broader range of consumers and spread through viral marketing, that is, word of mouth. So, yeah, so it was more or less to be like, hey, here's a gorilla playing drums, and everyone would be like, hey, did you see the Cadbury ad of the gorilla playing drums? And then that was the point of it. I'm like, okay,
so basically proto outrage marketing.
I guess so.
I mean, it got everybody to talk about Burger King.
Oh God, I've been watching a lot of old school internet videos. I'm talking like naughties internet that would get everybody cancelled right now.
Yeah.
And it's a Burger King one. And I don't think I can say it, talk about it on
That's fine. That's fine.
Us getting nuked.
No, the Burger
King. We'll send you a link.
The Burger King thing was funny. Like, my boyfriend and I were talking about it, and we were like, that could have worked but like the problem was everything they put underneath it to be like, here's like all the stuff. Like, they didn't just tweet it one after another. It took them like forever. And it's like, you should have that shit like ready to go. And then also it should have been like, and the other thing I said to him was like, they didn't fucking commit. Like, here's the problem. Like, because if you want to be like women should be like we should figure out why, or like we should.
Women belong in the kitchen.
Yeah, the women belong in the
That
kitchen
thing?
thing. We should like fix this issue of like they're not like the gender disparity in like chef positions or whatever. It should like my problem was twofold. One, like it took too long to like tweet the second tweet. But secondly, you could have done like women belong in the kitchen ... And then like the second tweet starts off with like if they want to, like no, you have already set the tone. Commit.
Yeah, no,
Fucking commit.
honestly, I think what they were trying to do was be like, because there is what is edgy is Wendy's. Wendy's Twitter feed is like she's all sass. Whoever works whoever runs Wendy's Twitter needs like mwah. And I think Burger King were probably trying to pull a Wendy's and they epically failed.
Well, like I said, part of the problem was like they just didn't commit because the second first of all, yeah, the timing was really bad, but because the second tweet just starts off with like if they want to, I guess. You can't like set a tone and like just immediate backpedal. Don't immediate backpedal. Just be like,
you know what I think? I honestly think that the second tweet was trying to cover their own ass, like because it wasn't being taken well.
Right. But
so they're just like, lol, it was just a joke. And it's like, well, no, fucking you said what you said, own it. Be like, yeah.
I think if it had been like
all they needed to do was to be like, what you don't think your daughter should work at Burger King? Like
I think it could have been like because I think it could have been effective to promote like whatever they were like their thing or like whatever awareness thing they're going to promote. And obviously we all know that's like just performative activism and like just who cares. But they all do it. Everybody does it for every like thing. They're all just like all the companies do it because you have to. And they feel like they're supposed to, but they could have like just if they had just done it as like a series of tweets, committed to the vibe, I think it would have been fine. But they didn't. Yeah. They didn't commit to the vibe.
Yeah, no, like their responses needed to be like they needed to have sass after that, and they just didn't. They just went, "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was a joke."
Yeah.
No, you can't be edgy and then follow it up with apologies.
Anyway,
yeah,
all right. So Colin's the computer now.
That's how we got off topic. Okay. I was about to say, how did this even happen?
Welcome back.
Yes. Book. Yeah. I almost said Phil as well. Frank is a computer now.
Frank Collins is a computer. Okay.
Yep. So all the Morganville stuff is back up and running, I guess.
Yes. We're like ish in a status quo reset, sort of. Like not really, but sort of.
Yeah, and Claire is the only one that knows out of our core group. No one else knows.
Which keeps it from being a complete status quo reset, obviously.
Oh, I guess Claire's kind of always had secrets from the rest of the group, though. She's always involved in, like, town business.
Yeah.
Oh, I will say, though, you know what is the least believable part of this book? Okay, the least believable part of a vampire book is MIT being like, we sent you an acceptance letter 6 months ago and you haven't responded. Would you like to attend? I can't talk right now. Bye. And then he spends the next 2-3 weeks calling her 10 times a day being like, would you like to come to our school? No. MIT is not doing that.
MIT wouldn't you? I don't know. I've never been accepted to MIT. Despite 13-year-old me having ambitions. And I wanted to go to MIT as a 13-year-old while it happened, but whatever. It's home safely, thank God. But, and yeah, even if they would follow up with you, which I don't know if they would, pretty sure he's going to be calling you out the ass.
I don't think it'll take him like 6 months to call you after you were sent your. Was it 6 months? I swear it was 6 months.
Yeah, I think so. And also, like, that would be like a good setup for like this person's trying to kidnap Claire or something, because it's really unbelievable. Like, because it sounds like
the amount.
One of those scam calls. It sounds like one of those scam calls, like, hey, I'm from the Social Security office, or like, hey, your car's warranty is blah, 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 blah. Hey, is Windows running correctly? No, I don't own Windows products, but thank you for asking. Like, you know, like, it sounds like one of those.
I have to tangent again. Yesterday, I got a call, and I was in the middle of something, and it was like, hi, we are offering like government rebate for solar panels, and like they do that, but you can tell as soon as I start talking that it's a scammer, right? Mm-hmm. And I literally just normally I fuck around with them and keep them on the phone for as long as possible, so they just ruin their day a little bit, and also takes them a bit longer to get on to someone who's actually stupid enough to believe them. And I'm just like, I'm like, listen, dude, I'm sorry, I don't have time to be scammed right now. Can we try another time? It's like, yeah, I'll call you back tomorrow. He didn't. I don't think he registered what I said. I was just like, I don't have time to be scammed right now. He's like, okay, I'll call you back tomorrow. I'm like, no worries, bye.
A lot of them here now are not even like people calling you. It's just automated, which makes it so much less fun.
So here we do get some of the automated ones. It's funny because the automations are the ones they use for you guys.
Oh, really?
You press the number. Yeah, it's like the Department of Homeland Security is investigating you in relation to a crime type thing. Security? No.
Okay. Like, I'm sure you have the equivalent, but not a Department of Homeland Security.
Yeah, no, we don't have that.
The Department of Homeland Security, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what our equivalent is even called. I don't know. Okay, like,
well, sometimes it's hard to be like, sometimes it's hard to even be like, is this the exact equivalent of this other alphabet soup thing that we have? Like,
yeah. But then when you hit the number to talk to them, because you have to press a number to get put through to a person, then they're pretending that they're from the tax office. And I'm like, but you just said I'm being investigated for a crime, and now you're telling me I owe taxes. And I'm confused. And why do you want me to pay my taxes on a card, like with a gift card? Since when does the ATO accept iTunes card as tax payment? And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of can't feel sympathy for anyone that falls for. Yes, we are the Australian Taxation Office. Can you please send us iTunes gift cards to pay your taxes?
I mean, at least
kind of can't feel sympathy for that.
At least here, I do feel bad for like the old people and stuff that get scammed, because it's always like the boomers that are getting screwed over.
Yeah, like the computer ones, like the ones where they like take control of your computer to do maintenance and stuff like that. I can see how that happens.
Yeah,
anyone who falls for a Nigerian prince, though, or please pay a federal department with iTunes gift cards.
Yeah, like for example, there have been times where my mom has texted me or like called me and said, I just got this email from PayPal or from Amazon saying that X, Y, and Z thing is wrong with the account and then I should click this link. And
never click the link.
And thank goodness she doesn't, because she did work in IT for a long time, so she knows not to do that. But she always asks me, like, can you look at it? And I'm like, okay, first of all, like, because now we don't live together anymore, obviously. So, I'm always like, first of all, look at the link, like, look at the email address.
Yeah.
And is it an actual Amazon like support email address? Because if it's not, first, that's your first red flag. And secondly, if there's ever anything wrong with your account, what you can do is you can always go into your account. You can always log in.
Type in the URL, like go to amazon.com and then go sign in.
Right. I'm like, so like that's what I told her. I was like look at what they're claiming the issue is. And like, first of all, you have to think, is this even an issue that should even occur with an Amazon account? If it's not, then like whatever. But that's the thing, is like if a thing is emailing you, like for my job, like I use PayPal a lot. So when PayPal emails me a thing that's like a transaction happened or whatever, I can go into PayPal, I can go into my account, and I can look at my shit, and I can see also there that a transaction has happened. Like you can see all these things on your back end.
Yeah.
Like if you have an account with somewhere and you get a confirmation email, you can always see on your actual account on the website the same thing.
Yeah. And
yeah,
that's the thing as well. Like, I mean, if there is ever an issue with your account, right? If you go to log in via the actual website, there's usually, like, it varies. It'll either be like in big red letters or in a red box with white letters or something. Issue is occurring. Please do a thing.
Yes.
And it's usually like as soon as you log in, it's right there in front of you for most of them. If it's important enough for them to email you that there's an issue, they'll, as soon as you log in, you'll be alerted.
Yeah, but never click the link.
Never, ever click the link. Unless
it's like a confirmation email, you have just done something and you know for sure. Right, and you know for sure that like this is the email you should be getting. Then click the link.
Or if it's just like a, like you've got an like we'll say Amazon, so like, great summer deals up to 80% off. Come check out our summer deals, and then you click this link and it takes you to Amazon to the deals.
The scary thing, and the reason why I understand it is because now, like if you actually look at like the email headers and stuff like that, you look at the formatting, they're formatted like almost the exact same as the real thing.
Oh, their formatting's getting better. I will say though, their creation of email addresses still very hit and miss. Sometimes they'll actually. Well, that's the thing. Is like they'll put the company name in the email somewhere, but it's usually like something completely unrelated.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. Is like usually you have this like perfect formatting with this like ridiculous email address that's usually just like a complete like randomized letters and numbers, and so in like a random server name or something like that, and so it'll be like this perfectly formatted Amazon email with completely random bullshit as the thing, and it's like that's clearly fake because like anyway, how the fuck did we get here? I was explaining this to Noah, how this happens to us. I was like, because I was like, we both have ADHD.
Yes, and that's it.
Well, I was explaining this to him, like why, even though I'm a fairly good storyteller, I'm bad at actually telling stories because I distract myself in the middle of telling a story, and so it's just like in my brain, I have a thought and it just goes, ooh, shiny, and then like over here and like an hour over here, and so like
you can't have two, and neither of us are any good at keeping each other on track half the time.
Well, no, because like one of us will say something and then like we'll both go, yeah, shiny, and like we'll follow the shiny, and usually we can backtrack and see like how we went from Ferris wheels to kittens, and how they were absolutely related if you follow the yellow brick road. But
you had to mention Ferris wheels. God damn it! Fuck you.
I'm sorry.
I need to go back to the zoo. There's a Ferris wheel there.
But
go back.
I'm just gonna shut up. Don't talk. Sorry. For my birthday, and for like our anniversary, we're gonna go to the aquarium and the zoo. I'm excited as fuck.
We need to take the kids to the aquarium. We haven't done that yet, and they love fish. I just,
I
I
haven't been to
don't,
the
I hate,
aquarium in so long. I'm so excited.
I hate getting to the aquarium though,
Ow.
because
We have
it's,
a really big aquarium here, and I'm excited to go. It's really fun. Anyway.
Now, yes.
Fuck.
What book are we talking about again?
The one we just read.
Okay, so it's status. So we're at status quo time, right? And
that's how
random
far we
gym
got. It's
flyer
been 20
appears.
minutes.
Random gym flyer appears.
Random what?
Gym flyer.
Oh, yes. I don't know if you do this. I'm sorry, we're going off track again. This is just happening. I haven't taken Ritalin yet. So we're just doing this. We're doing it like this. I don't know if your brain does this, but my brain, like, if somebody doesn't adequately like separate their words, my brain will just string them together, sort of like a username. You know how like the best example I have of this is like Ego Raptor, like Aaron Hansen from Game Grumps. His like handle's always been Ego Raptor. And before anybody said it to me out loud, my brain strung it together as a Gore Raptor because like I couldn't, because it didn't like look for the space. I'm like, there's no space, so that's clearly what it says. And I do that with like speech too. So like Al Gore, because people usually when they talk about politicians, they use their last names. Like
I'm
Biden.
not gonna lie, same. I think I had the same with Al Gore.
So I always thought his name was.
I at least had the benefit of being Australian.
So I didn't, but I'd never seen it written down. So I thought his last name was Al Gore, and I didn't know what his first name was. But then, like, he got divorced, so it was Alan Tipper Gore, and I was like, oh! And then I didn't know if it was like, I didn't know if Marco Rubio's name was Mark O. Rubio or Marco Rubio. and then like, my mom was one day just like, what made you think he's Irish? And I was like, you don't know by looking at somebody. We're American.
When you said O Rubio, I thought you meant like you thought it might have been a middle initial.
No, like just Mark, like
an apostrophe.
Like
what?
I know it's mad. Which doesn't even make sense because like for all of the reasons, there's a laundry list of reasons why as an Irish last name O Rubio does not make any sense. But like my brain was like, obviously. And there was a name the other night when we were having a conversation at dinner. We went out to dinner with our parents. They were talking about something, and it happened again. And I was like, never again will I have a Marco Rubio incident. And so, or like or an Al Gore incident. So I was like, pause. Where is the space in this name? It could be anywhere. I don't know where it is. Tell me where it is. I don't remember what the name was, but like we just stopped the conversation. And anyway, with what you just said, that happened where I was like, where it just strung everything together in my brain. And I don't know like what, and it wasn't a word. You didn't say a word to my head. You just said sounds. And my brain went, huh? And I went, wait, I didn't comprehend anything. I just heard noise. Why am I like this? This is why I take drugs. Oh God.
So I will enunciate more clearly. Wild Jim Flyer appears.
I think my brain heard it as a J flower.
I talk like this.
No, you know.
Oh.
No, please don't.
That sentence took way too long to say, and I didn't even finish it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually really upset. I thought I still had alcohol in the house, and I don't. And I really wanted to take advantage of, because you know this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. It is okay. I had one child-free night after daughter was born, before son was born, and it was the week before it was born. And I was heavily pregnant, so I couldn't appreciate it. So effectively, this is the first night in over 5 years where I am fully child-free, like free from all parental responsibilities for the night. And I don't even have a drink.
Oh, the amount of alcohol we have in this apartment because Noah keeps...
We have alcohol, just not all touch.
He keeps acquiring free beer because of his job. And like, so he's not paying for it, but he keeps just bringing it home.
Do you drink beer?
Huh?
Do you drink beer?
Well, you know what? I used to not like it, and now I like some of it. So the benefit of it being free is that if he doesn't like it, but if I try it and I don't like it, we can throw it away without feeling bad.
Yeah.
But now our fridge is mostly alcohol right now.
You know, like our back fridge is full of different kinds of beer. I just don't drink beer, and Stixie barely drinks it. But my mum can. Like every year she'll buy like one to two cartons, right, for Christmas. Even though we need a 6-pack.
Yeah.
That's all we need to get us through Christmas is a 6-pack.
Yeah.
So every so often Stixie will, go and have a beer, but that's like once every 6 months.
Yeah.
So we have like hundreds of cans of beer in the back, because we've got a fridge in the garage, and we've got cartons and beers in the fridge. We've got about 120 cans.
Wow, that's a lot.
Well, she buys a full case.
It's crazy. That's so much beer. What kind of beer is it? Full case.
We've got Tui. We've got Tui's New, which is kind of like just a standard like barbecue beer, and then she also got Heineken, I think.
Ugh. I'm really persnickety about beer. I don't like most of it.
Yeah, I got rid of so much beer that had expired because like my sister and her husband came up for like 2 weeks and bought a case, like a full case of, I think, Tiger or something. And they had about 2 bottles and then they left. And then every time they came back up, they didn't touch it. And so this shit went bad in like 2014.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But it was just kept there. And I'm like, why? So I got rid of it like over a year ago.
Yeah. Anyway, so a wild J.
Okay, so yes, new gym opening up in Morganville, run by a vampy vamp, and he will be teaching martial arts, and Shane is excited.
Yes.
And we discover a new hobby of Eve's, which is fencing, apparently. Yeah. I mean, I can't say I'm surprised, but we've never had, and I will say as well, like,
it's kind of like the ballet thing.
Yeah. You know how like we find out, we don't find out, like later on in the book after we've done the fencing scene, Eve has like got an also maybe I say it wrong. I don't think I do say it wrong though. I swear the name of it is pronounced Epe. Am I wrong?
What is it? No, I don't think so. Also, neither one of us is single. By the way,
this
Twitch chat.
Oh, I don't even have Twitch open. I should probably open Twitch. Yeah. So, but she was pronouncing it Ape, and it made me uncomfortable. And I've just opened Twitch chat, and now I feel uncomfortable. And why did we do this? Why did I open it?
I don't know.
Yeah, the pronunciation annoyed me, but anyway, she had her epee, and she'd like silvered it up. Like she went out and got an epee. Apparently, she also has full goth fencing gear, but she went out and got an epee and covered it in silver, and it does make appearances later on in the series. And I'm just like, if Eve can fence, why hasn't she been walking around with a fucking sword for books?
I don't know.
But anyway, yeah, so they decided, and then Claire goes to school and there's a Stinky Dog, and Stinky Dog steals some vampy blood, and then he gets, and they find the body.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh no! And then why would anyone steal vampire blood? I don't know, but apparently it doesn't make a very good party drug, but it does make good steroids. And did you pick up on that? That they're like, it makes good steroids, and Stinky Dog looks like he's been in a fight recently because he's all black-eyed.
Yeah, I did.
And I'm like, there's literally zero subtlety to this plot setup. But I digress.
Well, okay, so you know how I'm notorious for just like ignoring things and letting the story take me where it will take me?
You can't.
Well, the reason why that stood out to me was just because, like, in most vampire lore, vampire blood does have side effects when humans drink it. You know, like in the Vampire Diaries, it heals you or whatever. And other books, like the Mercy books, it like, you know, it's like perception check. Sorry, I've been playing a lot of D&D recently. You roll in at 20, you can hear light and like smell sound and shit like that, you know. And it makes you faster and stronger. It turns into Kanye West song. So, like, vampire blood.
Excuse you, Daft Punk. Okay, he sampled Daft Punk. How dare you?
Whatever. Turns you into a Daft Punk Kanye West crossover. Are we all good?
Yes.
We fix it?
Yes.
Fucking okay.
I was annoyed.
Did you do a thing?
Sorry. I did a thing.
Thank you, because I was about to do a thing.
I was getting creepy.
Yep. Okay. Anywho, sorry. So yeah, so that's why it stood out to me, because honestly, I was kind of like, because what stood out to me more than like vampire blood does a thing was like, hey, we've never talked about what vampire blood does if you drink it. Because normally that's like one of the first things you address whenever you're like, here are vampires, here's what happens when they drink your blood, here's what happens when you drink their blood. And, you know, normally not all the time, like in Twilight, to be turned into a vampire, you just get nom, 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 nom.
Yeah.
But
there's
the problem,
usually a proper exchange, though, in things.
right, because the big issue with like a single bite killing someone or turning them is that the number of people that would have to die for a vampire to feed themselves is enormous. And also, if they don't feed themselves, the number of people that would then turn is ridiculous. So that's why that kind of doesn't work, like, logically. So yeah, usually there's some sort of like other thing that has to be done for somebody to turn into a vampire, usually involving like exchanging blood or whatever, or even if it's not exchanging blood, drinking vampire blood, dying it with it in your system, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I was more surprised that like we hadn't discussed.
Yeah. I will say though, in Buffy, if I recall, vampire blood has zero. Like, there's nothing. It's unless it's like to become a vampire in Buffy, they have to drink your blood to the point where you're almost dead, and then you drink some of their blood, and then you become.
Yeah, I've read a book where it's like that, where you have to be drained to the point of almost dead, and then it's like right at and it's like really tricky to do. So it takes skill to do it, and also the vampire has to be really powerful because they have to drink all of your blood to the point where you're at your like last heartbeat, and then you have to drink most of their blood. So
that's a bit much. That's a bit too complicated.
Yeah, that's a lot, because also like it never really, because also in the books, like, it's set up to be difficult.
Well, I think they're like glowing. Sorry, carry on.
It's set up to be like really difficult, but then in the books, like, nobody ever unsuccessfully turned someone, so it's like, okay, then why do we make it so complicated?
I don't know. I will say, like, one vampire makey law that I don't like is Mercy's. I feel like it's way too complicated and complex, and I know it's supposed to be, and that's the point, but
Yeah,
It shouldn't
Mercy's-
take like a century to turn someone into a vampire.
Yeah, Mercy's vampire lore for me is not my favorite.
Yeah, like I mean, there's a lot of it I don't mind and stuff because like it's much in the spirit of like Dracula vibes in terms of like the general lore.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, just the turny bit is it's a bit much.
It's a bit over dramatic.
Well, yeah, like Stefan's been doing blood exchanges with like school teacher chick for what 30 years,
Yeah.
and she's not even like halfway to being like half ready to turn.
Yeah. Yeah,
She's just cancer free, and that's it.
and you would think with how many vampires get deaded over the course of the books, we would be like halfway through our vampire population with this method of turning people into vampires.
I know, right? Because also then after you turn, you still like have like when you finally make the change, you're still not safe. Like it still takes centuries to be able to not have to feed off of a master vampire.
Right.
Like
vampires.
I feel like
Vampires and Mercy
they would have died out.
We're not meant to live. Like
they were extinct millennia ago.
yeah, because that system is like the system is so broken.
But this vampire. Okay, so yeah, Claire goes to have a chitty chat with Merlin and Frank's like, no, it's a shit drug. I tried it once. Wasn't fun. He didn't actually say he tried it once. They just knew. And Merlin's like, however, did you know this? And he's like, we live in a vampire town, Merlin. Honestly, I feel like Frank should, like, I know, I really wish, like, that they just brought in, oh, I can't remember the actor's name, but you know the guy who plays the dad on Supernatural?
No, I've never seen Supernatural.
Oh. Well, they needed to bring him in just to do Frank's voice, and it would have been glorious.
Yeah, because
also, I think we've only got one more book left with Cynthia Holloway.
Yeah,
and then it's the awful narrator.
Mm-hmm. Well, so Cynthia Holloway has a good voice for Claire.
I like Merlin.
Yes, the downside of her voice, though, and this is any female narrator.
Words are hard on a boy.
Well,
sorry.
And like I'll say this too, the downside of male narrators is when they do female voices, like it can be a bit, yeah. You know?
I mean, there's some that are worse than others. Like the guy who does the US version of Harry Potter, he's still British. Like it's still a British guy, but it's not Stephen Fry. His female voices, they all have the speech impediment where they can't do the R sounds and replace it. They're Elmer Fudd. They're all Elmer Fudd. So like every time Hermione says Harry in an exasperated tone, it comes out like this. Howie. Don't do that, Howie.
That's horrible.
Which is why I told you when we did Harry Potter, you have to do the British version.
It's awful.
One, so we'd be listening to the same book, which, okay, they're 99% the same anyway. They just exchange loo for toilet and stuff like that. But I didn't want you to have to listen to Howie. Come on, Howie. Come on, Juan. We have to go to Hogwarts.
Like Halter Graham, because I've been re-listening to the entire like Mercy thing in like order or whatever. Yeah. He does an okay job for the most part.
He's good. Leslie Fisher's voice is fine. I'm fine with Leslie Fisher.
And Anna's voice is mostly fine. There are only some times where I go,
Usually if it's something sexy.
Yes.
There's nothing more disconcerting to me than a male narrator doing a female's voice talking about something to do with sex.
Yes.
It's weird.
And I know this is not what we're supposed to be talking about, but like it is just something that's put on my mind. I will say this.
They always make, I can't even do it. I can't even imitate a man doing a woman's voice, but they always make the girl sound really breathy.
Yeah, they always make her sound like this. Like, yeah. But like higher pitched because their voices are low. But like I have like my voice isn't low, but it's not super high either. So I don't know. Anyway, Patricia Briggs is a really great author. I love her to death. I really like the books. One of my favorite books. That's it. Almost every sex scene in all of these books, the setup and the execution is so awkward.
I will say, okay, Charles and Anna have had like public sex more than Mercy and Anna have. Sure.
Yes.
However, their sex scenes are far less uncomfortable. Because also, like, she doesn't. Okay, so like Patricia Briggs, she doesn't write explicit sex scenes. It's usually a whole bunch of innuendo.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes she'll be a little bit more direct, but you know, it's generally innuendo. But Mercy and Adam flirting and nudging.
Oh, the nut with the introduction of the nudge is the worst thing to ever happen to the series. I'm sorry. We hate it.
Yeah, but like, and there's something just really cringy as well of like, you know, like when Mercy and Adam were going, I think it's in the last book where they haven't done a bang bang for a bit, and then they do a bang bang, and Adam leaves the house in a good mood, and Mercy walks downstairs, and everyone's like, "Woo!
Yeah,
you two got it on, good job." And then she walks up to work and Tad and Z are like, "I heard you fucked your husband last night. Good job."
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm a private person. I would be so cranky.
It's so
like, I haven't even had time to wake up yet, and everyone's applauding me for having a bang. Like, I'm not okay with it. And her stepdaughter is like, "Dad left really happy today, Mercy. Go you." And I'm like, this is weird, Patty. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird. That's the main criticism I have of the series is just everyone, especially that one specific time.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, I'm just like, no.
Yeah, and like I said, usually
not when everyone else is doing it.
Usually the setups to the sex scenes are also just weird. And
are you doing a thing?
Yeah, I'm doing a thing.
Okay.
But stop dancing, motherfucking Christ.
A book. We should go back to our book.
Yeah. Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, real quick. I'm sorry. Because I just finished Burn Bright. I finished rereading it. I have not reread it since I read it the first time. Okay. Can we just very briefly, I'm sorry. Because I was wondering if like the Bran is funny about Mercy thing would be like less weird the second time around.
No, it's more weird. It's more weird.
It's more weird. It's worse.
I've done it. I've read it 3 times. It gets worse every time because it's like you pick up on things you missed last time. Because like, and the more times you reread it, the more you pick up that they're saying the musical nights were kind of like a flirty thing. But Mercy was 12 when they ended. Give me a sec.
And
I'm doing bops. I'm bopping.
Oh, Jesus, I can't. Yeah, you do it.
Yeah, I just bopped. It's fine.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, like
I mean,
we'll talk.
On the plus side, though,
We'll talk about it when we talk about Wild Sign, but yeah, like
Yeah, when is that again? May?
yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
this book though, Vampire Blood's pointless unless you want to get super strong, and there's a new martial arts gym. And Sneaky Doug had black eyes. I wonder how these pieces may fall together.
yeah, this was like weirdly obvious. Like I'm not complaining, but
I think though I think it was kind of supposed to be.
what was weirder is that Rachel Kane is usually better about things being obvious to you at the same time that it's obvious to the characters.
Yeah.
And I think that's what threw me off. Like, because usually in a book, you know, you want, if it's something supposed to be obvious, you allow it to be obvious with your characters, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I just had something just clicked, but keep talking.
You allow it to be obvious with your characters. So if it's like, this curtain is red, and your characters are like, yes, this curtain is absolutely red. Moving on, right? Like, or yes, vampire blood thing, jacked up gym, got it, cool, awesome, we know the thing. But they don't catch on at the same time you do, which is what makes it weird.
Yeah.
And it's what makes it like very Soul Screamers-y, right? Which I hate to say, but like every Soul Screamers book, we were like, so clearly it's a Hellion, and they were always like, I wonder what it could be, you know? And we were like, it's obviously this, you fucking idiot.
It's obviously a Bari, like.
Right, and so.
Like, not just a Hellion, the only, like,
the only
one
villain. Right, and so, you know, you always have to go through this mystery of like, I wonder what it could be, I wonder what it could be, I wonder what it could be, I wonder what it could be. It's like, oh, it's always worried. Nobody asked to worry yet. And so
like, literally all you need to do is call him up and be like, yo, you doing a thing? And he'll be like, well, I don't want to answer that question because I cannot lie. And then they'll be like, awesome, thank you.
And so it's very weird to be here and to be at a point where you feel like you can skip to the end.
Yeah. Yeah, what did occur to me? Yeah, what made me go like, it just occurred to me, what makes these books feel so different to other books?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's been a plot twist so far.
I think you're
We're
right.
10 books in. We're 10 books in. Oliver. That's it. We've had one plot twist in the first book. The first book had a plot twist.
Yeah. I don't mind not having a plot twist. I don't care.
No, like, again, and I think because these are kind of more like a TV show as opposed to a miniseries or a movie series, it's fine. But I think that's also what makes it feel that way, is the fact that none of the books are plot twisted and then half of them run into the next book.
Yeah. Yeah, and like something, and like obviously this is just on my mind because I'm rereading the whole series. Like something that's interesting about like the Mercy books is like they feel so dense because you always have like extra things going on.
Yeah.
But by and large, the plots are pretty simple. You just have like setup, the fallout from the setup, and then like some other bad guy interaction, sub bad guy interaction usually. You find out that the thing is more convoluted than you thought.
Yeah.
And then you kill the bad guy.
Yeah.
And usually there's not really a plot twist. Like, usually it's pretty much usually you're just figuring out what the bad guy of the book is.
Yeah.
There's not like an extra thing happening. Like there's not like a plot twist thing happening. Like the plot twist was like Bran is here in Silence Fallen.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes she tried, like the first one, right? The fact that it was Jerry, I think that was supposed to be a bit of a plot twist, but kind of not really.
It doesn't read like one, and like the fact that Andre made like Corey Littleton, that's like you could say like, oh, that's a plot twist, but like not really because Mercy sets you up to be like, well, fuck vampires, even though you're not. But like she has feelings about vampires. She already doesn't trust vampires, so and the fact that like a vampire might do a bad thing is not a surprise.
Yeah, and like I think perhaps the senator's son. I can't even remember his name. I just know he's the senator's son. I think he like that was supposed to like. I knew from the first scene he was in that he was the bad guy.
I had no fucking idea.
I didn't care. Oh, you knew as soon as he went to draw his gun and shoot Charles, though. You still knew way in advance.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I think you had previously, I think we spoke about this last one. I think you said you might have suspected him prior, but then that was when you were like, yes, it's you.
Yeah, I think so.
But the beauty of her writing is you don't give a flying fuck if you know who the bad guy is, because it's going to be a fun ride getting there.
Well, there's usually like some other lore stuff going on that you find interesting. Although I will say, right? I stand by what I said the first fucking time. We spend way too long with Wellesley.
Oh, yeah.
We spend half the book in his house, and we do not need to be there for half the book.
And not just that as well, but like even when you find out who... Oh, Sage being a naughty was also, I guess, plot twisty.
Yeah. Well, it was more... more like... It's also plot twist and more like, surprise.
Yeah, true.
Like, there's a difference between surprise and plot twist, I feel like.
Yeah. I suppose you're right. I feel
like bad guy
reveal
reveal
has probably been overused and broadened.
Yeah, like bad guy reveal and plot twist are kind of not the same thing.
Yeah, I guess though because Sage has been like a friend figure since book 1.
Yeah.
Does that window look out onto a road or something?
It looks out to the parking lot.
Okay, yeah, that explains it. Just every so often I see something dark going past. Just in like a little gap at the bottom, and I'm like, I don't think that's a people, because I don't think she's in a position to have a people out there.
I hope not. It would be terrifying. If you see people, let me know.
And then, like I've literally spent the last.
I have a deer head. I'm not afraid to use it.
Because like we were talking for like 20 minutes, half an hour before.
Yeah.
40 minutes. I don't know. A while before we did a thing. So I've been trying to work out since we first did a thing.
Could have just asked.
I'm like, because I keep seeing it, and then I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm actually seeing it because it goes so quick.
Yeah, it's cars.
Okay, now I know, so it's not going to bother me anymore. Just every so often, I just see something dark going past. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, it's just cars.
Because at first I'm like, yeah. Anyway, so they go to the gym. Oh, Shane is like. They go to the gym for the first time. That's where we're up to, almost an hour in. And like, because Claire gets home, no one's home. So then she's like, oh, I guess they're at the gym. So she goes to the gym. Shane is there, and he's in his gi and doing the Neely stuff.
Can I just... this has got to be the most convoluted way to introduce a gym.
Oh, yeah, as well, because like...
Can we just for a moment
that no gym in the history of ever has their first afternoon like this one's.
Like, but also, okay, not to be nitpicky, but I'm gonna be. This is mostly because
but let's be nitpicky.
This book was a bit sloppier than most of the Morganville books.
I think she was like, I've got this stuff to tie up these previous storylines. So let's just Fight Club.
Like a gym and a dojo or a martial arts school, or whatever. Like a martial arts gym is not like, it can be whatever you want. It's your world. But it does like yoink you out of it a little bit when you're using like weird terminology that like doesn't quite fit.
Yeah.
Because like, what is a martial arts gym? Is it just like
we have them here.
Huh?
We have them here.
Well, we don't.
They have fencing setups. Like you gotta
like,
go to the fencing school for that.
Right. Like that's the thing, is like we don't really have that kind of thing. Like usually it's like you have, you might have like a facility that like has places to train, that has like setups to train for like MMA. Like might have like free hours or whatever to do that kind of stuff like on your own, but then also holds like classes or something. But not like including fencing and including all this other stuff.
We've got a thing here, not fencing, but it's a gym. It's like the UFC gym. It does like martial arts classes and is also a gym.
Well, that's what I meant, like an MMA sort of thing, like yeah. But just like the way it's presented is like slightly off, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, like I will say and also like you go in, right, and then there's like a bouncer at the door, and then he presses a button and the wall opens and there's the gym, but it's a public, like it's not a secret gym.
Yeah,
that's like the thing that really got me. It's not a secret gym. But there's a hidden button to open the door.
And also, like, Shane is... And, okay, look, I get it. Like, a guy can get big into gymming. I get that. But it's kind of like with Eve and, like, the fencing and being a ballerina or some shit. And being into, like, the theater, which never comes back. Or at least I don't think it comes back. It would have...
I don't believe it comes back, the theater thing or the ballet thing.
Like, it wouldn't have been unbelievable to assume that Shane was into, like, stuff, like, I don't know, at least, like, doing push-ups or some shit. But you never get the impression that he
I think she has made a reference at some point that Shane is strictly a free weights kind of guy.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
I think it was like, I can't even remember what context it was in. I could even be getting it from a different book and just inserting it into Morganville. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure at some point in the series, in the 15 books, at some point, the sentence, Shane is more of a free weights kind of guy, exists.
Yeah, because like you don't have to like give us like, you don't have to give us detailed descriptions of somebody going to a gym. You know, you can just be like, oh, last night like I was at the thing and like did the thing, and that's like kind of it, and that's all you have to do. Just to establish that like these routines are like part of their day-to-day lives outside of fighting vampires.
Yeah, like, but we never see, like, where are the free weights in the house for starters?
Yeah, like, for all of the character building time we get, these extracurricular things are lacking, other than Claire being a nerd.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess there is,
and Michael doing guitar, and Eve being a goth. And this late and drinking coffee, yeah. And this late in the series, it starts to get a bit one-dimensional, and now it feels like we're just tacking on character traits because she went, oh shit.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways there is room for it because like this book takes place over weeks. Yeah. When you're reading it, it kind of feels like it's about 3 or 4 days, but like there's weeks in this book.
Yeah.
And so I guess like there's room for them to have these extracurriculars because because we're only with them for a very small portion of of their existence. However, they never get alluded. Like, we know that Shane likes to like fight because he gets into fights a lot, but book is the first mention that he's ever had martial arts training ever, and we're 10 books in. We're 2/3 of the way through the series.
Right.
And it's the first time they've ever mentioned, hey, I used to do a thing in a gi. Also, I don't see Frank Collins sending his kid to karate class. He just beats the shit out of him and makes Shane punch him back. That's what
And the thing is, like, in a supernatural universe, giving your human character or human-esque character a fighting ability is a very good idea. Like, I did that with Ryder and Wes. I made them both really into weapons and also into martial arts and like working out and stuff because I was like, I need them to be useful. Like, it's important to make your humans helpless. And same thing with like Mercy. Like, Mercy, it like does like martial arts. And it's useful if you're gonna have them fighting things, and mostly, at least for the most part, they're human-esque in reaction time and speed and strength and all of that kind of stuff. That can be very helpful if they know something about guns and weapons and defending themselves. Is very useful for that. So it's not a bad thing to establish that. It's just, we're 10 books in.
You need to establish it.
Yeah, and it's just you need to establish it, or if they start doing it, like, it's fine for them to start doing it, but like, we need to know about it.
Yeah, like, you can't, because there are many opportunities in the previous 9 books for Shane having formal martial arts training to have been brought up.
Yeah.
Because he's in a fight every book.
Yeah, and not to like, because I do like these books a lot, but I think it does just show like a weakness in the character structure of the books a little bit.
Yeah. Honestly, these books,
like the cohesion of the books. Once you get to
she was half asleep on a weekend. And
yeah, it shows like it shows like, because we're 10 books in, right? It's hard to keep 10 books like
feeling fresh,
feeling fucking fresh, fit, and clean. So it starts to kind of show the breakdown of developing these characters over the course of 10 books, and like giving them enough backstory and enough character traits in the first book to work off of for 10 books, and clearly she didn't. And so now you're like, oh, by the way,
yeah, well,
the fence. And it's like, since when? Since when has Eve done anything that's physical activity related?
Yeah, from memory, I feel like this is her weakest book. I will say, I feel like this is the weakest.
Yeah.
At least so far, and I don't think the other, like any of the next 5 are as weak as this one. And from memory as well, I feel like this might be the last standalone book.
Yeah.
The next book starts the next arc.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Well, and don't get me wrong. These books are incredibly enjoyable. Like, part of the reason why we're talking about this is because what we do is we sit down and we talk about the books. And, if you're just reading them to just read them, like, brain off, I'm enjoying a book.
It's an enjoyable book. Like, it's an enjoyable series.
Yeah, it's a very enjoyable series. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Especially for
except for all the things wrong with it.
Well, for like the YA, especially for the YA genre, it's
a feel-good series in general.
It's a great feel-good series, and yeah, generally speaking, and the issues that you run into with a lot of the really annoying YA books are just not present here. So the experience ruining stuff, and so if you're just sitting down and reading the book, if you can just hop on board with the like, you're like, all right, fine, Eve has been fencing her whole life, fuck it. Like while you're reading it.
Yeah, it's raining and the window is open. Like nothing's getting wet, but the noise is annoying, so I'm just gonna go shut the window.
Okay, that's fine. Then it's not that big a deal. But it's just when we're sitting down and actually analyzing it, it's like, okay, suddenly the lack of planning is very much evident by book 10, at least, or like the lack of how fleshed out the characters were, because the characters do feel three-dimensional, but something that characters need are like hobbies or things that they like. It's not enough just to give your character a backstory.
Yeah.
Right. But because it's like, yeah, they have a really rich backstory and a this and a that, but like, what else? Do they like Coke or Pepsi? Do they?
Well, we had that. They like Coke.
Right. But you need to know these things. Like, do they like Coke or Pepsi? Do they like, what kind of food do they like? Do they do their hair a lot? Do they take care of their nails? Do they not care? Like, do they play video games? Do they read? Do they watch movies? Do they prefer TV shows? Like, do they knit? Like, just something else, because a deep backstory is fine, but what else? Like cats or dogs? Like, are they a sociopath?
One thing that's actually
pets,
One thing that's actually really surprising by this point is that Eve hasn't brought home an orphaned puppy.
Yeah.
I think that's the most surprising part about this series. Thunder.
Is it thunder?
Yeah, and I'm just kind of dreading, because there's every chance that now that the boy is going to wake up and insist for mummy, and then I'm going to get a phone call because he doesn't like thunder. But he's asleep, so hopefully he'll just sleep through it.
Yeah.
If he wakes up during it though, then I'm fucked. Because it's too late. I don't want to drive there. It's an hour round trip.
Okay, anyway, where were we? We were at the gym part. We got so off topic. Again, we need to focus. Okay, again, how we're going to do this, we're just going to go over the major plot points, because there's always... If we go through like point by point, we'll be here forever. But
yeah. So yeah, Eve is like, Claire, I show you how to fence, yeah, and Claire's like, okay, but then they don't fence, they just like stretch, and then Oliver and Emily appear, and Oliver is like, Eve, shall we fence? And she's like, no, and he's like, shall we fence? And she's like, yeah, and then they tie. Somehow she manages to do a thing, and then she's like, you gave me bruise. And he's like, well, get off the mat. And so she does, and then Emily comes in, and then they do a thing, and they're like, wow, this is really cool. Can't see what's happening, but it's blurry, so that must mean it's cool. And then they're like, okay. Emily's like, okay, done. And like, okay, done. And then not relevant to the rest of the series. I guess it's to show that Emily and Oliver are kind of doing a thing now.
Yeah.
Which is only going to get grosser, by the way, because they actually start to do a thing.
Great.
You know what's coming, that she's
I miss Sam.
Neon signs pointing. I know why couldn't have someone else died?
Right? Like literally anybody else.
Yeah. And I think so then Claire goes home, and then she gets a knock at the window, and it's Merlin. He's like, hello, Claire. No, he's not even at the window. He's in a room. He's like, hello, Claire. And she's like, what are you doing in my room? He's like, oh, it's time for a visit. Let's go. And she's like, where are we going? He's like, I don't know, but I can't tell you. We must go. And she's like, okay. So then she goes, and it's time to talk to Jason. And they're like, someone's dead. They arrested him because I think he had something to do with Stinky Doug dying. I forgot that Doug died.
I did too.
And Claire's like, tell me, did you kill Doug? And he's like, no, I don't know why I'm going half British right now. Only half. He's like, no, but it was Bishop. And she's like, well, that ain't good. And he's like, no, it fucking ain't good. And she's like, okay, well, thanks for telling me. It's like, cool. And so then Myrna takes her home. And then she thinks she hears someone talking in Shane's room.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get the most jarring, point of view switch ever. Were you I've warned you, but were you expecting it?
No, I wasn't expecting it to happen here. Like, because you warned me, but I was expecting it to be smoother. Normally you get like a good stopping point or something, and yeah, no, I wasn't ready.
But like also like we got to get it just went straight into like, back in my day, I had a rough childhood. Okay, bro, it was rough. My dad was an alcoholic, my mom died, and my sister died. This is my life story.
Not only was it like a perspective change, but we also got like tone change, the story of Shane from Shane's perspective, and also like
went from third to first.
I don't want to be that guy, but this made me not like Shane as much.
Why, bro? Because I'm so tortured from my past.
I whose head I don't want to be in.
He's my best friend, but he's a vampy vamp, and I don't know how I feel.
Yeah, who I don't. Whose head whose heads I'm tired of being in. Female authors writing angsty teenage boys. That's where I'm tired of being. I'm tired of being in their heads. I don't want to be in Seth's head. I don't want to be in Shane's head.
You know what was refreshing about being in Shane's head, though?
Well, there were fewer boobs, but for sure. But
instead of the focus on sex, it was a focus on fighting, and I'm like, that's a refreshing change. Like he could interact with Claire, and he wasn't just like, I couldn't stop staring at those breasts, those sweet perky breasts. Like honestly, every single time it was just like those breasts, they're jiggling. I can see side boob. Like, but that's all female authors write for men.
But you know what else is really like annoying though is just like whenever I don't know why it's like every time you're in like a guy head, it's always so focused on like one thing. Like guys are always like guy brains for whatever reason. It's always like fighting and I'm tortured.
I don't know why I'm so angry.
Yeah, and it's like, can you just like give it a rest for like 5 seconds, please? I'm fucking tired. And like they never write them like normal people. They're just always like, I'm angry and I'm tortured and I'm angsty. Hot topic, And you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of whenever, because my boyfriend is like Deerhead, obviously. Deerhead's not mine. I just live here, so you can imagine what kind of music he listens to. And if you've ever been dating a country boy and if you listen to country music, it's fucking depressing. Like, it's the kind of music you kill yourself to, okay? And I imagine that music as Shane's soundtrack. Just like, because I make him change the song if it gets too depressing. I'm like, we're not listening to sad songs because we'll be just listening to a song about like, my wife came home and then I killed myself and then she killed herself and then now we're all sad. And it's just like, I'm like, why are we listening to this? Please turn it off. And he's like, why? What's wrong with this song? I'm like, turn this shit off. I don't want to hear it. Like, I'm going to rock in a corner. And then like, we'll just be like halfway to where we're going. He's like, why do you look so sad? I'm like, because we've listened to 3 dead people songs in a row. Like,
next time he wants to listen to country and you don't want to like feel like killing yourself at the end of the song, make him put on Redneck Woman.
He doesn't like
it's a
song.
Fun, but it's fun.
It is a fun song. He does have he has fun songs.
Karaoke song. It's my karaoke song.
They're always mixed in with like these depressing songs. But anyway, I just imagine that as Shane's lovely little soundtrack just like in the background, just like I'm so sad. And it's and yeah, for whatever reason, even though he's not focused on boobs, he is very focused on being angry and sad.
Yeah.
And it's exhausting.
What I kind of picture is Shane's soundtrack, and it kind of works with the time in which this book was written. Is from first to last, which is Sonny Moore before he became Skrillex.
Okay.
Pre-Skrillex, Sonny Moore, emo band, bright pink eyeshadow.
Yeah, no, like any kind of either that or just like really more fitting to like the story is really just like sad like punk boy songs, just like Breaking Benjamin or some shit, like Breaking Benjamin with Today's Grace, just like
oh god. Wait, Breaking Benjamin, is that the
like
one that
just Dear Agony on repeat, just which fits the vibe better, but
but yeah, so then we switch to Shane, we get his life story. Like I told you, she does the whole thing in his voice. Like that's commitment.
It is commitment. It was a poor commitment choice, but it is commitment. And my thing is like they should have just had a guy do it, or they should have just been like, look, sweetie, just do the voice when he talks, okay? Like, just don't.
Yeah.
Don't do that to yourself. Drink some water. Stop it.
We have been asked the vaping question.
This is a Tesla. This is a Tesla Sigs Punk something. I don't actually know. What are you? I don't know what this is. But my tank is a Vape Geek Zeus or whatever, and I am vaping blueberry cotton candy.
And I have a Vaporesso Revenger with a Anakin Scion 2. And I am, oops. There we go, menthol less. Because I'm all of the creative.
I get menthol whenever I go to a vape store I don't know very well, and I don't know what their house is like, and I don't have choice.
I feel like you can.
And I just want something that I know will cover up the nicotine flavor.
Yeah, I feel like you can usually tell who has started, like who vapes as like smoking cessation versus they vape because they started to vape.
Yeah, usually
it's usually based on flavors.
Yeah, crazy flavors are usually people who try vaping.
Yeah, I mean that's not to say that former smokers don't eventually branch out to whatever. I just haven't met one yet.
I haven't either, honestly.
All of the former smokers I know that vape, it's either tobacco or menthol. Mostly tobacco. There's not a lot of menthol people, but
tobacco is just ugh.
Well, why do you think I smoked double menthol cigarettes when I smoked?
I mean, yeah.
Like, because tobacco's gross.
Yeah.
I don't know how I started smoking because I don't know how anyone starts smoking because I don't think I've ever met anyone that's just like, you know what's a nice flavor?
Tobacco. Anyway, so
yeah.
Where the fuck were we?
Gloriana. So I'm Shane, and there's this woman in my room. It's Gloriana. She's new to Morganville. She's sexy. And I know she's a vamp, but I just want to serve her. And she's flirting with me and inviting me to join Fight Club. And then Wild Claire appears. And then we go back to Claire. And there's no Gloriana in Shane's room. And she's like, who are you talking to? He's like, where were you? And she's like, I'm confused. And he's like, you left with Mernon, didn't you? And she's like, yes, I did, but that's not the point. And he's like, it was the TV, Claire. I think in Shane's defense, I think at this point he genuinely thought he was kind of dreaming.
Yeah.
Or he was just in a glamour daze. Like, I don't think he was intentionally lying to Claire at this point.
I have a hot take. This book would have been better if we hadn't gotten any of Shane's perspective.
would have been a lot more mysterious had we not gotten Shane's perspective.
It kind of, and I'm not saying it's anywhere near as bad as House of Night, but demystifying everything right away is, I'm just going to go ahead and say it's not the move.
Well, she doesn't really go back to this kind of, like, we don't get other perspectives again until I think 3 or 4 books from now.
Yeah. It just,
but
like, there are times to do it for sure, but
no, 2 books from now. Sorry, carry on.
But demystifying like what's happening with Shane immediately before Claire even sees it is not my favorite decision, because now we know.
I think she was trying. I think she was trying something, and she was like, "That wasn't good." I'm pretty sure next book is just back to just Claire, and then the book after that we get not just Shane, we get multiple perspectives.
Yeah, which, like, fine. I'm just saying. Yeah, I just writing advice from book club with Faye. If you have a mystery and like a thing is happening to a character, where like they're mysteriously being controlled, mind controlled, don't tell us that's happening. Or I don't know how to describe what's happening to Shane other than like he's being mind controlled. But
no, he's being he's being glamored. I think is what that's referred to.
Right, but don't tell us about it. Like, let us figure it out with Claire.
Yeah. Okay, but like we've been going for like an hour 20, so let's like speed plot. So Shane and Claire have a bit of a fight, and then but then they make up. But then Shane starts acting really weird. He's going to thing. He's having like his protein shakes. He's getting more angry with Michael, and they're like, "What the fuck's going on with you, Shane?" He's like, "Fuck you, Michael. You did a vamp." And he's like, "I thought we settled this, bro. You're my best friend." And he's like, "No, you're not." And then he's like, "Eve, you're nothing but a fangbanger," and rips off her choker. And Michael's been biting Eve, and he's like, I'm gonna kill you. And she's like, "We're getting married." So Eve and Michael are engaged. Important plot point to remember, because that continues to be a thing. Mm-hmm. And then Shane's like, "I can't deal with this anymore." And Claire's like, "Shane, don't leave." He's like, "Fuck you all," and he leaves. And then they're like, "We got to go find Shane." So they go to the gym. And Shane's there with his buddies, and they're like, let's go head on vampires. And they're like, yeah. And Shane's getting really strong in fighting vampires, and he's really good at it. So we know at this point, because there was a thing about the vampire blood earlier, and Shane's drinking these protein shakes that he seems to be addicted to, and he can now fight vampires. There's clearly vampire blood in the protein shakes. The protein is the blood.
So he's addicted to vampire. He's addicted to demon meth.
That's it, though. It's not this. Like, it doesn't have long-lasting effects. Though.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I don't think we ever have a withdrawal period of vamp blood for Shane.
Yeah.
But he's just like, I need to feel strong. So then he goes and has the thing that makes him feel strong.
Yeah.
And Gloriana's like, "You're such a good boy." And then so they go to the gym, and Shane's like, "Screw you, Claire. You look like a little boy." And fuck you, and you're banging Mernon and Michael, and you're the vampire's bicycle. And Claire's like, "How dare you?" And he's like, "Leave." And so then they leave. But then we go to Shane's head, and he's like, "I don't know why I did that. I love Claire. I just can't be near her right now." And it's like, fuck off, Shane.
Yeah, like, and that again, like, unnecessary, but anyway.
And then Claire gets a phone call, and she's like, "Your boyfriend's so hot, and I'm gonna watch it again." And Claire's like, "What the fuck?" And so then she thinks it's a sex tape, because she's like, "By the way, there was a Kim. There was a Kim in the past. She did a sex tape." So I think that's the only reason they found out about it this way.
Yeah.
So they could be like, "Hey, Kim's a person, remember?" And she's like, "No, it's not the sex tape. It's Shane fighting a vampire, but it was days ago, because he's not bruised now. Like in it, but he's bruised now." So, yeah, so then they watch and then and then they're talking about it. And then Frank calls Claire. This whole thing makes me laugh. I'm sorry, but like Frank's like, what's going on with my son? And they're like, she's like, I don't know. And Michael's like, Claire, who the fuck are you talking to? And she's like, I guess it's Frank. So then they go to see Frank. They go to the lab and he's like, tell me what's happening. And they're like, here's the website. He's like, I can't see it. Because like he's like appeared next to them. He's like, it's encrypted. I can't see it. And I don't understand because I don't know the computer stuff, but I know what encryption is apparently. And so then Eve holds up her phone and is playing it, like pointing her camera at the computer. He's like, that's better. Now I can see it. It just amused me. They're like, I think it wouldn't have been anywhere near as amusing if Frank wasn't standing next to them. Like if he didn't have an apparition next to them.
I was also
by the encryption.
Yeah,
sorry.
Like he's blinded by the encryption. Yeah, and he's like, "Can't see it's fucking encrypted. I don't understand it." And I was like,
and then Mernon comes back to the lab and he's like, what are you all doing here? And they're like, we're looking for our shampoo to wash our hair. And he's like, well, that's random. Goodbye. And they're like, okay, goodbye. And so then they leave and like, well, shit ain't good. And then Claire's like, oh, mate. Actually, does Mernon summon Claire? Can't remember when Mernon summons Claire. I think it's later.
yeah.
But she's like, maybe Kim. Or does something else happen first? Because I know that.
I honestly don't remember.
Because Claire's like, I need to go talk to Shane again. And Michael's like, no, I'll do it. And she's like, Michael, he wants to kill you right now. I think I'm the best bet. And so then they go to bed. And then I can't remember when it happens. I just remember that Mernon summons Claire at some point in this book by opening a portal and throwing a rock with a note attached, carved into the rock.
Yes. Yes.
And she texts him. It's after all this bit. Okay, that's right. But because it's when it's just Claire and Eve. And she texts him like to be like, can you unlock the door? And he's like, okay. And she's like, why couldn't you have texted me? You threw a rock into our house, goddammit. But Claire wakes up, and she's like, Kim might know how to break the encryption. So then they go there, and Emily's like, tell me everything. And so Claire tells Emily everything reluctantly. And she's like, okay, now we shall say Kim. And Kim's like, I shall break the encryption. And so then she breaks the encryption. She's like, they're here. So then they go here. But then explosion, and Kim's like, mwahaha, I hope Shane's dead. And Claire's like, fuck you. And then like gunfire and crossbow fire or something, some sort of and Kim's like, Jeep, run, and then they run. And well, not they, Kim. She gets into the Jeep and escapes, and like people are dying, like close to dying, and Emily mad. She cranky bitch. But Shane wasn't in the building, so it's all good. So then Claire goes home. Michael's missing. And they're like, well, that's not good. And even Claire are like, we need to find a Michael. And I think this is where the Rocky thing happens. And then the Rocky thing happens. They go see Mernon. Can't remember why. Because then Frank's like, I found the site. There's a new thing. And it's going to, spoiler alert, there's going to be Shane and a Michael fighting. And they're like, well, that ain't good. So then they go to try and stop it from happening. But then they get there and Shane goes apeshit on the vampy dude running the whole thing. And they're like, well, that ain't good. Oh, and Bishop's there. And he's like, mwahaha, I'm going to fight the winner. But then Michael gets through to Shane. He's like, we have to fight Bishop together. And Shane's like, yes, bro, you're my bro. And he's like, you're my bro. And then they fight Bishop. Bishop's badass. Am I wrong? They bro each other all the time. And Mernon has brought a bunch of inventions of his untested, and then he throws a thing at Bishop, and it goes, and Bishop's like, my skin. And then Mernon's like, well, that actually worked, and now Bishop's dead. And Emily rocks up and Vernon's like, Emily, I killed your father. I hope you don't mind. And Emily's like, excuse you? And she's like, I killed your father. And she's like, very well. And she's like, Shane, I suppose you get probation because you were all of the glamour. And he's like, well, thank you. I appreciate that. But can I go home and sleep first? And she's like, well, yes, that would only be fair. So, because he has to do community service, I can't remember what his punishment was. I don't care. It's irrelevant. He gets off lightly. He's fine. Emily's like, well, all's well that ends well, I suppose, type thing. And then Claire gets a call from Merlin. He's like, I got the wrong blood. Can you please collect my correct blood? And she's like, okay. And Shane's like, oh, throughout this entire book as well, we mentioned it earlier, Claire's been getting calls from MIT saying, like, can you come do an MIT thing? And Claire's like, I'll get back to you. And then she doesn't. And then they go to Merlin's lab, her and Shane, and because they've made up. And Wild Kim appears and she's like, screw you, Shane, I'm gonna kill you if you don't love me. And he's like, well, I don't love you. And she's like, crossbow. And they're like, no. Does she die? Or she just gets captured?
I think she just gets captured.
Yeah. They beat Kim. She's been locked away. She's in the oubliette for eternity now. And that's fine because I guess.
Well, I mean, she did make child porn, so.
She did make child porn.
Someone should lock her up.
Oh yeah, what saves Shane is Wild Frank appears and he's like, what the fuck? And then Shane looks at Claire and he's like, what the fuck's going on? And she's like, oh yeah, by the way, your dad's a brain in the jar now. I didn't know how to tell you. And he's like, you knew. And he has a breakdown just yelling at her repeatedly, you knew and you didn't tell me you knew. And she's like,
shit. We can just take a moment to appreciate how fucking dramatic all the Morganville characters are.
Especially the boys.
Like, the boys are such drama queens. Like, it's such a thing in this series.
Especially Shane. He's like the bit, like, I can just picture him, like, just like, because, like, apparently he's like rocking himself and rocking, and he's just like, you knew.
Yeah.
And then a week passes.
Yes.
Because Shane doesn't talk to Claire for a week. And then MIT calls again. Or she finally listens to her messages that she hasn't listened to for a week. And calls back. I can't remember. She's like, well, let's take a moment to appreciate the admittance guy's name, Mr. Radaman. Does that smell?
No, I thought I was scented. It was not. It just nail polish. I'm sorry. Can you just appreciate real quick how ugly this nail polish is?
Does it look good on?
Well, I think it'll look good as like a background for like Easter kind of nail art. Which is why when Addie was like, I'm never going to use it. Do you want it? I was like, it can't hurt anything to have it. On its own, though, it's gross.
Question.
Yes.
If you can't find a way to make it pretty, are you actually going to chuck it out, or are you going to keep it for eternity thinking that one day its day will come?
Look.
We're going to go with option B, aren't we?
Probably, yeah.
I'm going to have, if you do that, I am going to have to dog on you to your boyfriend.
Like, at some point, I'm going to actually
I can't do anything about it.
At some point, I'm actually going to get, like, a shelf, and, because I have, like, storage for my nail polish, but I have too much nail polish for the amount of storage that I have.
I am waiting. Wait.
I need, like, real nail polish shelves, because I don't have enough.
I am just waiting for the day. Let me find the thing that I am waiting for you to get. Okay, I am waiting for you. Where's my share? There's my share. Share screen. Application window. Share. Like at least one of these.
No, I want a shelf. I don't want one of those. I want a shelf. I want like
what's the faces thing?
I want like an actual shelf.
Wait.
It'll have to be like a custom built in when we get like a house.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Ooh,
there's no
there's some pretty wall mounted things you can get though.
Yeah.
Like the racks. They're pretty.
Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Oh, there's some wrought iron ones. They'll go the wrought iron nail polish racks will go really nice with Albert.
Just Albert surrounded by nail polish.
But like dainty, girly, like heart-shaped wrought iron ones.
Yes.
Anyway. It'll be a look.
It will be. Anywho.
Oh,
okay.
Subscreen. And then Claire, speaks to Mr. Ratherman from MIT. She's like, I can't go. I'm so sorry, but can I apply next year? And he's like, well, this is bizarre, but of course. And I'm like, as if MIT isn't being like, you fucked us around for 6 months. No. You're lucky.
Yeah.
You're still allowed to say yes. But no. Oh, because also, like, Claire also mentions to Emily, like, after the thing as well, she's like, there's an MIT thing, and Emily is like, and what is an MIT? Which is bullshit, and you'll find out why, I believe, in book 14.
Okay.
I think it's book 14. I could be wrong, though. But Emily being like, and what is an MIT is bullshit. And Claire's like, and Shane's standing at the door, like, and her and Claire are him and Claire are like eye contacting, like throughout this thing. She's like, I can't leave. And then she hangs up the phone. He's like, was that for me? And she's like, well, yes, but no. And he's like, what do you mean? She's like, well, Mernon can teach me all of the stuff, and MIT is never going away. But yes, no, I also just can't leave you. And he's like, I would wait forever for you, Claire. And she's like, you still love me? And he's like, I just wanted you to make up your own mind. And he was being the martyr. It's such a girl thing, right? Where it's like, I wanted you to make the choice I wanted you to make because you wanted to make it, not because you thought I wanted you to make it.
Yeah, guys are way more straightforward than that. They're just like, let's boink forever. That's kind of that's how guys are.
I mean, like, there's a limit. Like, obviously, like, it's, like, within reason. Like, if you're staying purely just for me and you're going to hate me for the next 50 years of our lives together because you didn't do a thing for my sake, then please do the thing and we'll work it out.
Mm-hmm.
But they're going to have the conversation with you.
Yeah.
But, so Claire's not going to MIT. Her and Shane are fine. Was there anything else at the end, or is that it?
What is it?
Even Michael is still engaged.
Yeah.
Emily doesn't look pleased by the prospect.
Yeah.
And that's the book.
That's the book.
And the tangents. And all of the tangents.
Yeah. Oh, there's like other stuff in between, obviously, but again, too much. We'll never keep it straight. So
yeah.
So that we did it. So we're gonna do Red Tigress next. I still need to reread the first book.
I had started listening to Blood Air Right. because well, now it's Sunday morning for me, but it was Saturday night when we started this stream. I started listening to it on Thursday, and then it would have been your Wednesday night, and you're like, I thought we were doing the Morganvilles. I was like, thank freaking Christ, because I was listening to it on double speed. I'm like, I'm not gonna get through Blood Air before.
That's the thing is, like, I need to be able to listen to Blood Air and really listen to it not on double speed, because that's not a double speed book, and then I need to be able to listen to Tigress on double speed. And
yeah, luckily like as far deep into the book as I got before, like we had the conversation where we established we were doing Morganville. Double speed was fine, because the beginning part you can do double speed. It's like from about a third of the way in is when it needs to be slowed down.
Yeah,
and I got about a quarter of the way in, so I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah,
and slow it down.
But we'll figure out when we're doing that, and then we'll continue. I also do want to do Shifting Shadows before What's Its Nuts comes out.
We'll work it out.
I'd like a Morganville break.
Yeah, you know what? Should we do a Morganville break before we do the next book? Because the next book starts a new arc.
Yeah, let's do that.
Because from memory, we have a 3-book arc, and then there's 2 more books.
Yeah, let's just do that.
Okay.
So,
Yes.
So that's that. And we will talk to you guys next
when we see you.
time.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye.